So hello, hi guys, welcome back to my channel BitXplosive. So in the last video we have studied about the history of money, and this video will be the last video of that series. We have done two videos before on the same topic, history of money, and this will be the third part of the same. Why I am focusing on history of money is that because we will be studying further the need of the cryptocurrency, which is the application of blockchain. So the need of cryptocurrency, to understand that we are currently discussing about the history of money. So just to give you a brief in the last two videos, what all we have discussed is that we have started with the history of money with the barter system. We have understood what barter system is, and then we have moved further to understand about the basic properties of money. Those were first one was the portability of the money. The next thing was the durability. The third thing was the universally acceptable. Another thing was the fungibility. Last thing was the divisibility. So these were the five properties that ideally a money should have, which was not present in the rice, which was used earlier in the form of barter system. After that, we have discussed about gold, which is all the properties of money which we have discussed. And just to give you a brief, I have talked about the kingdom of Lida in Turkey, which is there. Basically, the people of Lida, what they did is that they started using electrum, which was a mixture of gold and silver, and they started melting them and created coins based on that, and that was starting of where how we started using gold coin. And if we move further, what we have discussed is that we have discussed about the Roman Empire, how Western Roman Empire diluted gold coin using copper and silver, and due to that, the inflation rise in Western Roman Empire, and which resulted in the collapse of the Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire. And we have also studied about the Eastern Roman Empire, over where they used something called as solidus, which was a gold coin, which was highly acceptable, which enhanced the economy of the Eastern Roman Empire, and it lasted for around 1500 AD. If we move further to the year 1770, which was the year of when Sir Isaac Newton was warden of Royal Mint. The Royal Mint was the place where the gold coins were minted in England. While the warden of this mint, he observed that the gold coins are facing a problem of clipping. Basically, to give you a brief of what clipping is, clipping basically means that people started, so a gold coin has a value, so people started shaving off the parts of the gold coin. Eventually the size of the gold coin decreases due to that, and hence the value also decreases. This was the huge threat to the economy of England. So what Sir Isaac Newton had discovered was the gold standard. What gold standard basically means is that the Royal Mint, which was there, will print out paper notes, and the paper notes will have value equivalent to the ounces of gold. Let's say one paper note is equal to 1 ounce of gold. In that way, there was some uh, gold standard that was created by Sir Isaac Newton that removed the issues which were there with the physical gold coins, which is like clipping, because it is not possible to clip the part of the note, otherwise it will become invalid. People stop clipping the paper notes. And another thing was the paper notes are hard to forge, because it solved the major problem on the economy of England. So this whole scenario of gold standard worked very well till 1914, but as you are all aware, in 1940 we had our first World War. In that first World War, what Germany did is that is to fight the war. Not Germany, many other countries were also involved. So what they thought is that we will not follow gold standard, and we will be printing out this money out of thin air. So what they did is that they went off the gold standard, and they started printing gold coins, which resulted in inflation. Okay, so the inflation was so bad that Germany has to suffer from hyperinflation. That basically means that prices went up to 1 trillion times. Basically, if we buy a samosa in today's time, let's say the samosa is of 10 rupees. So according to that 1 trillion times inflation, that samosa will cost us 1 trillion rupees. So that was the situation in Germany. So until the second convert, all the people understand that we need to follow some sort of gold standards. So at that time, around 1944, at the time of Second World War, there was agreement named as Bretton Woods Agreement. So at that time, England was having the highest gold reserve. What they decided is that they will follow a gold standard, which basically says that $35 will be equal to 1 ounce of gold. So in that way, the amount of gold that they are having, they need to print 35 times the dollars. But what England did is that they printed number of notes than the amount of gold they were having, and they termed this whole thing as the fractional reserve. So they further increased the supply of the dollars which were there in circulation. And this whole fractional reserve thing work on the principle that as number of people will be exchanging gold with the dollar. Bretton Woods Agreement worked till 1960. But 1916 we have further issues. Okay, so this was all that we have discussed in the previous lecture. I know I have stretched out a little bit, but for the audience who is viewing this video as their first video, should have a brief context of what we have discussed in the previous video, so that they can watch those videos. That's why I have stressed too much on the details of what we have studied in the previous video. So if you want to skip the viewers which you have already watched, can skip and come to this point. Now we will be discussing further after 1960s. There was some geopolitical issues. There was also Vietnam War. So due to Vietnam War, what the US need is that they need a lot of money to fight the war. So what they started doing, that they started following the same pattern that they have followed before. They started printing notes out of the thin air. So whenever any government tries to think of printing out the notes out of thin air, they cause a lot of issues to them. We have already seen this issue before in the at the time of Roman Empire, when they tried to do so and their whole economy died due to that. And the same practice was used by US government as well. What they thought is that they will be printing out notes out of thin air, and they will be able to fight the war with that money. Okay, but what happened is that a lot of countries which were there at the time kept dollar as their foreign reserve. Basically, foreign reserve is something that they use to exchange between the countries to buy something from other countries. They use their foreign exchange. But what happened is that when the country starts seeing that US is printing out money out of thin air, then they could cause the this foreign reserve value to decrease. So all the countries which were having this foreign reserve panicked, and what they start doing is that they start going to US and say that keep your dollar and give us the gold in exchange. So due to which what happened is that in US, because as I have told you in the previous video, that US was having some times back was having the highest gold reserve, around 20k tons of gold they were having, which was reduced to 8k tons due to this issue. So the situation was becoming worse, and there was some kind of a bank run, you can say. So this was happening in US, due to which the inflation is also rising. So so the US government panicked, and around 1970s, what they did is that the president of US, who was Nixon, he completely went off the this gold standard. He killed the gold standard, and that gold standard is not revived till today. So what we are currently using in our today's economy is the fiat currency. As you have heard this term before as well, I will explain you what fiat currency basically means. So fiat currency, the term fiat is a Latin word which basically means by will. Okay, so that means the term fiat currency basically refers to that any government of any country can print out money out of thin air whenever and whatever amount they want. Let's say India wanted to print 1 trillion rupees, they can go forward and do the same. They can print out 1 trillion rupees, and it will not cause any issue. But the only issue with the fiat currency is that fiat currency increased the inflation a lot. And just to give you an example, around 1985 in India, around 1985, 5 paisa was the smallest currency that we were using. And fast forward to today, to 2024, the smallest currency which we are having is 1 rupee. So if you see the difference, around 20 times, the value of currency has decreased 20 times in such a small span of time. So this is the whole result of the inflation which is there. So currently we are in a world where this inflation is there and the realm of fiat currency is there. So the thing is that in today's world, if let's say if India needs more money, what they can do is that they can go forward and print out money out of thin air. And what usually government do is that they print out money to give out loans. So when they give loans, to people, so sometimes they get back those loans. Okay, once we get back those loans, the inflation decreases. But there are many chances where we don't get any money back. That will cause the inflation to rise. So this is the whole issue. And the modern economist basically termed this thing of printing the money as quantitative easing. You can refer to it on Google. What quantitative easing basically means is that printing of money out of thin air as per the requirement. Basically, there is a modern term used for the current monetary system, which is basically known as MMT. The full form of MMT is modern monetary theory. So this modern monetary theory covers two things. Number one is the fiat currency, and other thing is the interest rates. So fiat currency, we have already discussed that the printing of out of any amount of money at any amount of time, which basically means that printing out money by will. Basically fiat means will, so by will, printing out money by will. Another thing is the interest rate. Interest rate is something which is managed by the central bank. This modern monetary theory has bring in a lot of inflation and a lot of bubbles. Now, just to give you a brief, what bubbles basically means is that let's say the overall inflation has not rise too much, but there are a lot of localized inflation. So that is known as bubble. There was dot-com bubble in 1990s. There was this housing bubble in 2000, and in the current decade there was stock market bubble in the year of 2010. So never in the history inflation this fiat currency has been stable for too long. It has collapsed due to the inflation. This is the whole overview of the fiat currency. Now let's discuss one thing: why these currencies have value. We will be discussing about that now. The reason we will be discussing about that is that we have to move to our main topic, which is cryptocurrency. And to understand that, we need to understand why currencies has value. We will be discussing briefly the point that we have discussed in the first video. Basically, those were the points of the properties of money. The first point in that was the acceptability. Why currency is acceptable? Basically, currency, we are currently referring to the fiat currency. The thing is that the fiat currency itself doesn't have any inherent value, but the thing is that it is backed by the government laws. The thing is that in any country, if we need to buy or sell something, we need a currency. That currency which is needed is maintained by the government. That's why due to the government rules, this currency has a value, because government maintains the supply and basically creates the demand accordingly. So it's due to the supply and demand and the maintaining monitoring of this money, that's why this fiat currency has value, because it is backed by the government. Another thing is that we have discussed about in the properties of money was the durability, and we have discussed about divisibility, we have discussed about fungibility, and one more thing we have discussed about was the portability. Let's see if money satisfies all these properties. Current currency is fiat currency satisfies all these properties. So the thing is that divisibility, if we talk about the fiat currency, yeah, it is very divisible, because we can buy small things with a small amount of money. It is pretty much divisible. If we talk about electronic transaction, we can do a transaction up to very small number. Stability is there. Portability, yes, money is pretty much portable. If we talk about electronic cash, it is very much portable. We can have just phone and we have a lot of money. And physical cash is also very portable. We can keep it in pocket and all. So it is very portable. Another thing we have discussed about was the fungibility. Fungibility basically means that basically a 10 rupees note, whether it is new or old, it will have the same value. 10 rupees only. This is basically mean as the fungibility. Or 10 rupees note are not identical. They have some differences, but the value of all the 10 rupees notes will be 10 only. This basically means as the fungibility. Another thing we discussed at that time was the durability of the money. Is money durable? Thing is that yes, if we talk about the physical form of money, yes, it is pretty much durable. The paper notes which we are using are pretty much durable, and the electronic money which we are having in our bank, which is backed by the government, is also very durable until and unless bank and government is maintaining the records of that for us. So if we can say like to conclude the durability thing is that yes, physically money is pretty much durable, but as a store of value, it lacks. The fiat currency lacks in this thing, store of value. Basically, the thing is that if we talk about gold is something which is basically a metal, and that gives us a trust that yes, we are holding something and it is having a value. But in case of, so it was a good store of value. But if we talk about fiat currencies and like paper notes, they yes, due to the supply and demand created by the government, yes, they are very durable, and they are very durable. But the thing is that they are just paper notes. So as a store of value, they lag in that case. They are not very good store of value as compared to the gold or something. But yet these are the basic things which we have discussed about the properties of money, and we have discussed in context with the fiat currency. Now the thing is that can you think of any alternative of this fiat currency, because there are some issues with it, as we have seen that it is not a good store of value. Can you think of any alternatives? The thing is that if we think about alternative, it will be very difficult to think, because main thing is the government, because fiat currency is backed by the government, and we need some solution which is trustworthy and that in which government is not involved. But we have to think of some alternative, and that's where cryptocurrency comes into picture. And we will be discussing about cryptocurrency in our next video, because I wanted to keep these three videos separate, because in these three videos we have studied about the history of money in detail. So we have now a huge picture in front of us of about the history, how money has been invented till now and how we are using it today. Now we will be moving further to discuss about the cryptocurrencies and what issues it solves with as compared to the fiat currency. We will discuss in our next videos. Until then, thank you and have a nice day. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.